Ei, estão falando de você! Quer saber onde? www.correionagô.com.br. Matérias, vídeos, fotografias, entrevistas, chat, música e muito mais. Acesse o portal Correio Nagô e faça a notícia. Correio Nagô, informação do seu jeito.
Salvador começa a discutir a participação da população negra nos grandes eventos esportivos, como a Copa do Mundo e as Olimpíadas. O evento reuniu líderes e políticos, que trouxe também para o debate a ex-prefeita de Atlanta, Shirley Franklin, que falou da experiência da cidade na inclusão dos afrodescendentes. E nós, do Correio Nagô, tivemos a oportunidade de conversar com ela. Confira. Hi, Shirley.
Hello, how are you?
What is your first impression about Salvador?
Salvador is a beautiful city. It's a community with deep cultural history. People from all backgrounds, many people African descent. And it is a beautiful and thriving city.
What do you think is possible Salvador do for the Olympics?
Well, the Olympics and the Federation of World Cup are going to be wonderful opportunities for young people to get training, to get education, and also to get jobs. There will be business opportunities and employment opportunities for Salvadorans and Bahians during the Olympic Games. And the whole world is going to visit Brazil. So this will be an opportunity to invest in infrastructure, in parks, in transport, in hotels, in language and cultural opportunities. So many business opportunities, lots of employment opportunities, and many, many training opportunities.
Nice, but we have a situation here in Salvador. Atlanta is a business city, you know, but here in Salvador, the black people are more culture, but this production of good culture don't keep money for the black people. You know, what do we think we can know we should do, you know, for change this thing?
Well, there are opportunities for even small businesses all over the black community in Salvador. I saw small businesses. I went to restaurants. I went to small shops. And there are business opportunities, not just for big business, but for small business. So number one, look for small business opportunities. Secondly, you can partner or joint venture with larger businesses that allow you to do the bigger job. But you can get training as a bus driver, as a brick mason. You can get opportunities as a designer. There are many cultural opportunities, not just performing, but also writing and designing and painting and composing. There are dozens and dozens of opportunities. And I think the black community in Salvador is rich in these experiences. In event planning, you can't have a cultural event without having a plan. And you'll be able to do event planning and entertainment planning. You should see the possibilities and not the limitations, because the possibilities are unlimited. The only limitation is your imagination.
Nice. How did the plan have an impact in Atlanta?
Well, Atlanta developed a plan in the early 1990s that we implemented over a period of 5 years to really do outreach into the black community. We had over 600, nearly 600 businesses who were engaged in catering, in transport, in designing, in printing, in every imaginable area. And we spent millions and millions and millions of dollars with black businesses and female-owned businesses. So there is a blueprint that was the Atlanta plan called the Equal Economic Opportunity Plan. And Brazil and Salvador can have such a plan. You analyze what the opportunities are, business hiring and training opportunities, and then you designate a small group of people to actually implement that plan or execute that plan. It's possible.
So the execution is the more important, is that?
Well, executing a plan that's no good is not important. You've got to have a good plan, and you have to have senior leadership. Your mayor, your business leaders, and other people. You have to have senior leadership. Your governor, the ministers have to say, we will do this. And when we do this, you will see a result. So you've got to have a really good plan. You have to have senior level commitment and public announcement so that it's transparent, that everyone can participate. And then the execution follows that. But with a bad plan, you get bad results. So you've got to have a good plan. Well, the ministers have already started. They've signed, the governor has already signed an agreement with the federal government that the games should close this disparity, racial disparity, that blacks should have full access to opportunities, both at the World Cup and the Olympics. That's the first step. The second step is to really look at what the opportunities are. Are you going to build parks? Are you going to use this as an opportunity to train? It's an opportunity to learn another language, English. In our case, we had to learn other languages. We spoke English, but we had to learn other languages. And then identifying who the prospective businesses, the businesses who could participate. The report that we developed, which is the results of our program, was produced in 1996 in advance, few months before the games, so that we could provide the report to the media. So it was used by the media, and it's been used by the Olympic Committee to study. But this is the first time I've been invited, or we have been invited, to really talk about this plan. A lot depends on which venues that you are, which part of the world you're in. Brazil has a very large Afro-Brazilian population. So it is appropriate that Brazil would be interested in this. But I did think it was a little long, 15 years, to wait to be asked about this report. But we have a saying that is better late than never. So we don't complain about what didn't happen. We just take advantage of the opportunities that present themselves. And this just tells me how special a place Brazil is. That it is going to have wonderful venues and wonderful games, wonderful World Cup, but they are determined at the highest levels of government to be sure that people who are Afro-Cuban, Afro-Brazilian, and African background are going to have the opportunity to fully participate. So kudos, congratulations. I am sure that people are working very hard to be sure that Salvador is strong economically, has a strong financial base. It's not as easy to do as it is to say. I mean, it's very difficult because typically you have to find new financial resources, new revenue, and sometimes you have to cut back on what you're doing until you can afford certain activities and services. I served as a city manager with 2 other mayors, so I had lots of experience in the management of the city. And when I ran for mayor, I barely won the election. The number of votes difference was 183 votes. Very close. So I spent a lot of my time getting out and getting to know people and talking to them and letting them know about me, because I found that many people thought that an African American woman couldn't do the job, wouldn't have the skills, wouldn't have the experience. So I found that it was important to be on television or radio or to write letters, but it was also important to go out and to listen to people, to hear their problems, but also to hear their aspirations. So my advice to anyone who's running for office is to find some time to actually listen and learn, because no one person has all the answers. And lots of times when you go out into the community, whether it's the business community or the social activists, whether it's small business or whether it's students, you will find answers out in the community. And I'm sure that that's what people here try to do.
Just to talk about you did for fix the city.
Well, in order to fix the city, I listened a lot. I did analysis. I used data and research, and used a process of accountability, which was reporting to the public on what I found, what I intended to do about it, and listened to people who had more experience. But you have to do that every single day. You don't fix it once and it stays fixed. Like Salvador, there are new people coming and new problems all the time. The second thing is I set priorities. I determined that there were some things that were more important than others. That didn't make everyone happy because they wanted me to work on their problem as much as another problem. And so I had to be pretty stubborn and persistent to solve some of the problems like water infrastructure, sewer problems, budget problems, lack of investment in parks and green space. And you have to do that every single day. The hardest thing I did, two hard things. The hardest thing was imagining what I could do as mayor of Atlanta that would have meaning and importance 50 years from now. Well, the things that you do today that impact the lives of people who live many years after you tend to be the most important things. So I focused a lot on education, because when you educate young people, they become advocates for themselves. When you educate young people and even older people, they are better able to access the services they need. So that was one thing. And then the second thing that was really hard was gaining and maintaining the public trust, because people were looking for me to make a mistake, to say one thing and to do another. Well, you have to say what you're going to do and do what you say in order to gain trust, and you have to do that every single day.
Nice, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Correio Nagô, informação do seu jeito.